Welcome back to See Today Business. It was a short week for the U.S. market as it closed on Monday. Bank of England has raised its interest rate in one of its highest in years, while the Fed has announced to increase its rate yet again. To discuss more, we have Alfredo, Jason, Kusuma from Sukor Securitas to discuss more on this. Hi, Jason. How are you?
Hi, Shelly.
Hi. Thank you for coming. So let's talk about the key takeaways that we can derive from Powell's speech.
All right. So based on Powell's speech, as of right now, we're still waiting for the long speech of Powell on whether the stance of the Fed would be to raise rates again or would stay or keep the rates at the level right now.
So we were expecting that the current level is actually the final one, and we expect the Fed to pivot, but it seems not like that.
Yep.
With the current development.
Back on March 2023, the market was expecting that the terminal rate would be around 5 to 5.25 right now, but it seems that they would be increasing the rates for another 25 basis point or another 50 basis point in the next few meetings in the future.
And this is on the back of the resilient inflation?
That's true. Yeah.
Yes. So what can the investors anticipate regarding this quote-unquote expected move from the Fed?
So based on what Jerome Powell said, they would start moderately increasing the interest rate. So it won't be as quickly as the previous 10-month rate hikes. But it seems that for the July meeting on 25th to 26th July, it seems that the probability that the Fed would raise by 25%, by 25 basis point is around 77% right now.
So if the Fed still continue its hike of the rate, what can we expect? Do you expect that there will be a recession coming?
Based on the economy right now in the US, in terms of the labor market, it's still very strong. It's still very resilient, even though the recent jobless claims is a bit above expectation, but the unemployment rate is still below it's still on the historical level.
How long do you think that it usually take for the cumulative effect of the rate hikes to start kicking into the economy?
It's gonna have a short time lag. It's probably around 3 to 6 months. We can expect that amount of time frame before the inflation starts to kick in.
Okay, in its decision, Bank Indonesia has maintained the current level, BI 7-day reverse repo rate at 5.75%. What can we learn from this decision? Do you think that Indonesian monetary authority really confident in the fundamental of our economy?
Yes. So based on what our governor of Bank Indonesia or the central bank, Pak Peri Warjio said, that this is still in line with their stance to lower the inflation rate back to the target. As of right now, we can see that the inflation is still on the upper bound of our target of 3 plus or minus 1%. So we're still expecting that the inflation would still be in the target of 3 plus or minus 1% for the rest of the year.
Okay, so regarding the rupiah stability, do you think that it will help rupiah to still in its resilient level?
Yes, so based on this decision to keep the rates at 5.75%, it would help to stabilize the currency or the exchange rate between USD and IDR to stabilize below 15,000, hopefully to stay around 14,700 to 800 probably.
Okay, so that's the range that we can expect in the future. And how about the real yield in investing in Indonesian asset-based? with this, the current level of the Fed, and then the expectation of the Fed will continue the hike cycles, and with the BI at its terminal rate, the real yield for foreign investors to invest in Indonesia?
So for foreign investors to invest in Indonesia for the equity market, right now we're still seeing an outflow of a net foreign outflow from Indonesia of around 1 billion since the start of June. For the obligations market, the bonds market, we're seeing a short increase in terms of the prices.
Why do you think like foreign investors still are not really attracted to invest in Indonesia's equity market regarding they have what is invested in our bonds market?
So based on the previous news about the debt ceiling in the US,
Yes.
they started to increase the debt ceiling up till 2024, and that would start to introduce new bonds in the US, and that would lead to an outflow of money from the Southeast Asian region as well as the Asian region back to the US. That's probably one of the reasons why our equity market hasn't seen a huge increase in inflow from the foreign investors.
Well, that's why I fly for quality. Okay, Jason. So if we look at our trade balance, it continues to fall again. How do you think it will affect our currency?
So based on what we previously mentioned, that the currency is expected to stabilize around 15,000, and that would help to reduce the inflationary pressure in imports. Because as we know, one of the contributors to why our trade balance fell sharply or steeply from 3.9 billion down to 400 million is because of the 14% increase in in imports.
And import, is it for working capital or?
It's mostly for working capital and machineries.
Okay. And then let's talk about Indonesian inflation rate. You mentioned earlier that we did good job in maintaining or regulating the inflation rate, but with the Eid al-Adha celebration coming as well as the school children holiday, how can we expect the inflation rate in the next month?
So for the rest of the year, Bank Indonesia expects that we will still maintain it around the target of 3 plus minus 1%, or around 2 to 4%. But we can probably expect that the inflation for June would spike a bit, will increase by a bit because of the Eid al-Adha holiday break, as well as the increase in prices of durable goods such as meats, cow meats, and for the kurban or sacrifice.
Yes, and spices as well.
Yep.
Usually it affects our inflation rate, even though at the inflation rate right now, it has matched the Bank Indonesia target, right? So talk about the Eid al-Adha celebration. So we have more holidays coming, making it less trading days. What can we expect for the stock markets in the coming weeks?
For the stock market, we can expect that investors would probably start to sell some of their parts in the equity market, in their equity, and starts to hold cash for the rest of the week, especially since we only have 2 trading weeks.
Yes.
For next week. After that, we're going to have quite a long break.
Yes.
Before we start again in early July.
Okay, let's check the numbers of the daily transaction or the turnover of the Indonesia Stock Exchange. You mentioned that it decreases day by day.
Yes, for the July trading month, it decreases gradually. For the first week of June. For the first week of June, it's around 57 trillion rupiah, whereas on the second week of June, it went down to 50 trillion rupiah. And up until yesterday, the whole week, we calculated that it was around 33 trillion rupiah. Probably with today's trading day, we can see that it's gonna be around 40 to 43 trillion rupiah for this week's trading transactions turnover.
So we have a below than average daily turnover in the Indonesia stock market. Do you think that this is the right time for those having longer time horizon to enter the market?
For now, yes. Especially since we see that the Bank Indonesia has kept its rates at 5.75%, and there's a possibility that probably at the end of quarter three, around around August or September, we can see that the Bank Indonesia would start to possibly start to cut rates down to around 5.5%.
Okay, and we would like to check how it is going to be like for next week for the Jakarta Composite Index. We can show it here. Do you think that our market will still in the sideways mode?
So as we can see, we can see that since the start of the year,
Yes.
up until now, it's still moving in a sideways manner around 6,500 up till the upper bound is around 6,900. We can see right now that there's a reversal pattern in terms of technical.
So do you expect to bounce back for the Jakarta Composite Index in the coming weeks?
We expect that for next week, it would still stabilize around the level 6,600 right now because there's only 2 trading days. But for the upcoming month of July, we expect that the market would start to break out of the first resistance level in around 6,700, followed by another target in the 6,800 level.
Okay, so during a slow market like this, what sectors do you think we can monitor that may offer interesting return in the future for investors?
For the sectors, I would recommend the property sector.
Property sector.
Especially since there's a possibility again that the Bank Indonesia would start cutting rates early in quarter 4 or even late in quarter 3. So that would have a significant impact towards the property sector.
Property sector. Other than that, any other suggestions?
Right now, I'm quite bullish on the technology sector, although it's probably only a dead cat bounce or only a short-term increase on that sector.
So for those trading can look at the tech sectors.
Tech. Maybe
it will follow
the US
market, the Nasdaq.
Nasdaq today went up by 0.90% today.
Yes. When they start cutting rates, then it's a time for the tech stocks
Tech
to
stocks
shine.
to start rallying.
Yes.
Especially we're seeing right now some of the digital banks
Yes.
sector, such as Arto and BBHI or Alobank, already started rallying. So we can expect that some of the second liner banks, such as probably Bank Neocommerce,
Yes.
or even Agro, to start also following the rally of the first liner banks.
How much upside potential do you think that they can offer?
Right now,
Can we expect like bagger or no?
probably not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, but in the future, there's a possibility that we can. Right now, the prices are still on the lower level, so we can expect that we can reach a higher, potentially a bagger,
Yes.
even in the future.
Yeah, but for the time being, what is the realistic expected upside potential for the digital bank stocks?
Upside potential around 20%, I would say.
Okay.
20 to 30% for the near future. we can expect that amount of increase for the banks.
For the swing traders.
Yep.
Yes, thank you so much, Jason, for joining us today.
Thank you, Chi.
So that's our discussion with Jason from Sukor Securitas. Let's take a break, but we will have more updates from around the world when we return, so stay with us.